Hey guys, so welcome back to the Zelda tournament. In this match, we're gonna have Houdini going against XX Bra, and the results so far of the first part of the tournament, which is a round robin kind of tournament, are shown here. We can see Flying Skid so far is up top, and we have Lest We Forget, J Red, Sneak Person, and Houdini are right after him. And now each win is from a best of three. So each opponent plays against the other one, uh, plays two or three matches depending on which one the winning opponent won. So if the winning opponent won two matches, the first two matches, then there's no need for a third one. And so once this section is over and players are rank ordered, we move on to the single elimination, which is kind of a bracket based tournament. But without further ado, let's dive right into the gameplay. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to Age of Mythology and look at the match between Houdini and XX Bra. Houdini here is in blue, XX Bra is in red. So they're gonna go right in and build their fishing ships or their docks. Normally what you would do is you would send one villager for each dock. Here Red's gonna have to trade off some of that. He's gonna get more wood resource, but he's gonna lose some of that time. Therefore, he's gonna have less food in the end compared to blue, given the identical circumstances. So we have let's look at his view. Not much gonna be There's not much gonna be going on earlier on. It's just gonna be careful strategy in terms of how you want to spend your resources and limited villagers. You can pay attention here to the resources and number of workers. Let's look at the gods. So we have for Houdini we have Poseidon. For XX Pro we have Uranus or Uranus. 8 fishing ships for Houdini and 5 for XX. Houdini has built it at 133 and XX has also built it around the same time. 1 minute 30 seconds is about when you should start building your TC. We have 3 vills there, we have 1 vill here for the TC. Let's look at the progress. Around 700 or so. Around double that, okay. 12 ships for Houdini, 9 for XX. But he's of course going to build the second one as Atlantean. You would need to have 2 TCs because of the rate at which your villagers come out are very slow. It's pretty crucial how this is executed. I mean, if you focus too much on eco, you could get rushed and pretty much lose everything. Now what I predict is going to happen is that we're going to have blue making a Cyclops or using the already spawning Cyclops to, and maybe 1 or 2 heroes to basically rush red. This is all conditional, of course. It depends on timing and resources. We have blue building a temple and he's also pumping out units. We can add a matching number of fishing ships. Almost has that second TC, red does. You can see how long it takes for the Atlanteans to spawn versus. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, he built that for line of sight. Poseidon's lure power. He's going to be gathering favor early on, possibly for fast heroic age, to where he's going to build a castle. Here he's just gonna want to make sure that he can get an early warning radar. Make sure he can prepare quickly. Here he's trying to get some sort of reaction out of. And of course the damage, it doesn't take much to damage that. Let's see, he has damage of 2. So in about 250 seconds you would expect that wall to break. It's a few minutes there had he been doing that. Looks like red is just about to go to the next age. Of course he has the issue right now with food, which is very common when you have the first two, when you're trying to boom basically. Looks like he was able to age. It's going to be a slight disadvantage there in terms of units. You have a centaur, and of course blue is starting to build the second TC. And that's what you would see from Houdini, is that, and that's kind of what I do as well, is I throw a lot of my units towards a particular goal early on. So I like to throw 3 or 4 villagers to building my TCs, and here you can see a couple more doing the third one. Having 3 TCs early on is extremely crucial, as it determines the pace of the game and how much eco you have, how strong your eco is, and what kind of military units you can spawn. So it's very important to get those started very early on, which means you must have planned your resources correctly in the first age to have enough to be able to build them early on. You can see the complexity here. So almost done with the third one. And is he aging? No, he doesn't have a armory yet. What is red doing? He's building barracks into here, probably expecting some sort of attack pretty soon. Of course 2 layers of walls, whereas blue has no walls. Centaur is going to be scouting out here, trying to see what kind of units are there. Gonna get the will, create a disruption, run away. Good old tactics. Let's see what red is doing. He still doesn't have the third TC, which is very dangerous to not do because he's Atlantean. Looking at food, red is far ahead in terms of fishing ships. And of course every Atlantean villager is essentially 3 regular villagers, whether that's Egyptian or Greek. That could slightly vary, but there are about 3 to 4 equivalent villagers. Let's see, what are we doing here? Now he's building the third one, and I don't see many military units, and I also don't see a armory to be aging. Very low on gold. He's gonna need to switch these up. We're 7 minutes in. No significant development yet. We're gonna have some scouting going on, possibly on the second and third TC. Houdini's trying to get a feel for the pace of the game from red's perspective. Let's see, are we on? Let's go on blue's side and see what is he doing. Is he aging anytime soon? Looks like he's just waiting for that 800 food. A little bit of conflict going on here. Let's see if that drops. He's missing it slightly. A little bit of conflict here. Of course he's now making sure that the TCs are being built. So what do we have here? Yep, he's aging now to Aphrodite. Using 8 vills to start building outside. No walls yet, and no military yet from red either. Okay, now he's ready to... He has no food, which is a major problem. I've encountered this problem too as an Atlantean. That's pretty difficult when you start with the early 2 TCs. Scanning out the rest of the buildings, and of course here we have plenty of archery ranges and barracks. Almost equal number of ships, 40 to 50 is a good range. We have blue completing the heroic age at about 9 minutes, let's say. Let's see what kind of units he's gonna spawn out. He's gonna go here as a emergency kind of effort there, just to build a small base there. Red still does not have a significant army of any sort. So let's see. Let's switch to Red's view. We have some Mormillos turned into heroes. We have some, let's see, we have some Cheros. Starting to get some military units going there. Still nothing from blue. Let's see. No particular units. Just preparing for a massive onslaught there. Be very curious to know how he's going to execute that attack. Okay, Red is starting to slowly come out of his shell and begin to build. You have a palace here. Probably going to make destroyers. Lots of buildings here. This is very similar to what I like to do as well. Build these buildings for redundancy and as a buffer zone in case your rush or your attempt to attack fails. It gives you some time to distract the enemy. The resources pretty even except for gold. Cavalry is going to be a major factor here for blue. Blue has no military yet. I think he's waiting for the last age, mythic age. Getting very close to the conflict. You have a heavy destroyer here, a handful of them. We have Houdini building the 5th town center. Gets denied. Let's see what kind of military he's gonna build. I'm still very curious why he hasn't built anything. Well, we have a couple of temples there, probably for scouting actually. Pump out Pegasus. Pulls back the destroyers, goes forward with the Cheros and the archers. Houdini's gonna stop the fight or put a halt to it. Gather all his villagers and military. Let's see, they're not upgraded much yet. Hoplites, heavy hoplites. Oh, okay. Interesting. Red used a god power there to turn them into his units, and I just thought it was interesting that they lost their upgrades. I hadn't noticed that before. They lost it to the level at which Red has it. Okay, we have about 15 more seconds. Let's see what they're gonna do in terms of preparing for the fight. Lots of archers, lots of Hippispist. I'm really not good with the names in this game. Okay, the fight begins, and we use Aphrodite's power here on red. Okay, blue is beginning to gain advantage here. We have archers. Let's see, are they shooting at the right spot? So, how's the micro? You have destroyers working on that TC. Lots of archers. About 18 to 20 or so. Blue is taking care of that TC on his side, rebuilding it. Red also has a palace on this side, using the sky passage. Now let's see where red uses the Tartarian gate. I would personally use it in the base itself near the villagers. Also, using some protection here would have been a good idea. Looks like red has almost no military at this point. We're at 14 minutes and 30 seconds. Blue is continuously pumping out units. Let's see what upgrades we have. We have almost all the upgrades. Blue, of course, takes out the siege. This area is secured. Lots of archers here working against the infantry. Blue's gonna work really hard to keep that TC up and running. Building some barracks and stables here would be a great idea in terms of reducing the time to deploy. Looks like he used the Tartarian gate here, which is kind of a buffer zone for the other half side of the map. If he had some sort of a line of sight on Blue's base and used it against the near the gold miners, that would be a great play there. Would have kept Blue busy for a while. Let's see, another fortress. Red has a couple of palaces, which is good. Red has kind of evened out the playing field here with lots of towers and the Tartarian gate, as well as some units that are now beginning to develop more Milos and Satyrs. Blue just keeps on strongly pushing out units out of the barracks and archeries. Let's see what's going on here. So we're losing that barracks, building more fortresses. Looks like Red's just buying time with the towers. Is he out of resources? Let's see. He's doing pretty well on gold. Very well on gold. Pretty somewhat poorly on food. What is he pumping out? Let's see. It's kind of a stalemate thus far. Red is countering pretty well. Blue makes another push. Of course, the towers just decimate blue. Lots of archers. We have a Colossus going to work on that palace. See the damage. About 50. Wow. Okay, he's gonna protect that TC. Lots of fortresses, as well as the other side. Very good. Very solid progression here for blue. A few Heliopolis, which is gonna be very crucial in taking out these towers. Archers are a good choice at this point. I would also have some cavalry to take out these the siege here. Blue is starting to win here in terms of dominating the scene and taking out the towers. We have some onagers on the red side. He's gonna try to take out the... I would really use a cavalry here. Now these gold colossi are taking out every palace one by one, which is a major issue for red. He has a couple of archer heroes which is gonna try to take care of these colossi, but at the same time blue is just pounding him with the siege here. Wow, very solid offensive line here. Wow. Yeah, what a handful of... We have about 9 siege here, which are the majority of the units pretty much. Okay. About 13 or so siege. Blue is just absolutely dominating at this point. Let's see how much damage they have. 21 crush damage. That's 13 times 21. It's a little over 250 damage for that building. Of course, the archers are now a huge issue because that was actually a smart move by blue. He pumped out a lot of siege, and you can see here 10 pierce attack against. Let's see, the pierce armor is enormous for the siege here, the Heliopolis. $19 Heliopolis, wow. He's just ready to decimate red at this point. Of course, he's now turned. It's game over at this point. It's GG at this point. It's just too many siege. Decent amount of health and very good pierce armor. It's gonna take what? That's gonna take about a minute for one archer to take down one of these. Just gonna eat some gold here. Okay, the game is over. Of course, blue is about double that of red in terms of score, military, economy, improvements. That being said, thank you for watching this game with me. I'll see you in the next match.